Ladies and gentlemen, there are two kinds of stories. Those you can take to bed with you and then there's the other kind. Now our story tonight is the other kind.
Hi everybody, how are you doing? My name's Jacob Palacio, and I'm here to review another film that I saw at Sundance of this year, 2022. Today we're going to be talking about a film called Speak No Evil. It is directed by Christian Taftrup. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't even know. Speak No Evil is a horror thriller film of sorts, and let's just talk about it, I guess. Now, in case you did not know, I'm a big horror guy. You know, I've dedicated most of my life to watching horror movies, you know, ever since I was a little kid. And I have spent years just searching for some of the most rough, challenging, hard to watch films that this medium has to offer. So I have seen some pretty crazy shit, to say the least, and it makes me so happy to say, as a horror fan, that this is easily so far one of the most miserable and uncomfortable cinematic experiences I have ever had, and I mean that with the highest of praise. This is about as horrific as it gets, and the cool thing is that this director is not even a horror fan. He has no experience with horror movies whatsoever, as he stated in the introduction of this film, when it premiered at Sundance, which to me is insanely impressive, after watching this movie, and it just gives me a whole lot more respect for this film and the filmmaker. And even though he's not too well versed into horror, he did take a lot of inspiration from filmmakers such as Lars von Trier and Michelle Haneke, which makes total fucking sense since this movie's literally like a love child of both of those filmmakers. He stated in the introduction before the film started that his intentions with this film were to make the most unpleasant experience for an audience ever. And my god, did he succeed in doing that on just about every level. Here's another quote that I wrote down that he said during the introduction of this movie. It's something we don't know if it will divide the audience, and maybe I don't even care about that. It's okay if you hate it, it's okay if you love it. But what I don't want to do is please you too much. I want you to sit back, lean back, enjoy the film, and go out of the cinemas and talk about it. Or even maybe decide to never see a film by Christian Taftrup ever again. I'm extremely proud of it. This introduction alone gave me so much respect for the director and showed me that whatever film I was getting into, it was made with a lot of love, care, effort, and a clear artistic, intention. Apparently when he first wrote the script, it didn't start off as a horror film, but rather just situations that he has experienced in his own life. I will personally argue that the scariest depiction of horror of all is the idea that something like this is happening right now in today's society, and that is true fucking horror right there. This man said immediately exactly what kind of movie he intended this to be, and he succeeded in doing so, again, on just about every possible level. The film follows two families, a Dutch family and a Danish family, who meet at a villa somewhere, and we're basically following the Danish family who lives in Denmark, and they get a very strange invitation from the Dutch family that they met at the villa, basically telling them like, hey, we had a good time talking to you guys, they really hit it off at the villa, and that they wanted them to come over to their house in the Netherlands so they can hang out for a weekend. At first, the family is very skeptical, especially the wife, because, this is a family that they met, in the course of one night, and they don't really know them that well. They're essentially strangers, and they're asking them to travel, to the Netherlands just to hang out with them for a whole weekend, so they think it's a little strange, but of course, they end up going through with it, and they travel to the Netherlands to, hang out with this Dutch family for a whole weekend. I'm going to stop right there as far as the plot goes, because other than that, there's no other information that you need going into this movie. I just want to start off by saying that the Danish and Dutch family both speak to each other in English, so they all have English accents, but they're all different accents, and listening listening to these people speak English just makes the movie like 20 times more better than it needs to be. Like it's just fucking awesome listening to these people talk. And again, without giving away anything, this movie literally gets increasingly more and more uncomfortable by each scene. Like, it's fucking insane. I probably have like 20 favorite scenes in this entire movie. One of the things that this movie nails perfectly is telling a story of the duality of two clashing forces, which makes for some incredibly fascinating, effective, and exceptional entertainment, you know, as far as horror and thriller films go. I haven't looked away this much at a screen in a very long time, and that makes me very happy to say. But yeah, this movie had a lot of moments that just bothered me, and I know for a fact bothered a lot of other people, you know, in a very good way, in a very intentional way. There is one thing that I want to point out that I know for a fact is going to bother a lot of people in this movie. It is a film that is incredibly aware of the, you know, really dumb characters who make stupid decisions and avoid all these red flags trope that is most commonly portrayed in most horror movies today. You all know what I'm talking about. And this movie is very much aware of the fact that we as an audience are constantly thinking to ourselves while watching this movie, like, why don't these characters just drive away? Why don't they do this or avoid this or do this logical thing?
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Smart. Yeah, okay.
If you're in a horror movie, you make poor decisions. That's what you do.
Shh, I'm being quiet. Breathing on.
But they use this common trope as a way to further infuriate the audience, you know? They use it to their best advantage, resulting in an even more unpleasant experience. And yes, it is infuriating, but it's supposed to be infuriating to get you riled up. Like, if these characters didn't do all of these dumb, illogical things, then this movie wouldn't have gone as far as it did. So in a way, it's kind of necessary, as infuriating as it is, but again, that just adds to the entire unpleasant experience that the movie is intentionally trying to give, you know, the audience. He puts the audience in the character's shoes by having them deal with incredibly real and recognizable situations, uncomfortable situations that we have all probably been through. Maybe not to this extent, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. Thus, the film begs the question: who are we as human beings? We are so focused on behaving and abiding by, you know, social conventions. Are we really what society dictates us to be, or are we who we really are? The director and his brother, I don't know if I mentioned this by the way, but the director and his brother both wrote the film. They had a hard time funding this movie because of the bleak, dark nature of the film, and a lot of the studios that they went up to said that they didn't want to give them money because that they wanted more hope in the film because it was just so dark and bleak. I'm typically not fond of the term elevated horror, as I feel like it's just like an arbitrary term used to describe, you know, modern horror movies. But if by definition it were to ever apply to any film, it'd probably be this one. Also, the score's fucking incredible. I forgot to bring up the score in this movie, but holy shit, the score's amazing. That being said, I can already tell that this movie's not going to be a lot of people's cup of tea, mostly due to the really unpleasant and nihilistic nature of the film, as well as the fact that it intentionally toys with the stupid characters who make dumb decisions and avoid all these red flags trope that the horror genre is most notably known for. So if either of these things don't sound appealing to you at all, then just avoid this movie at all costs. But for the hardcore fans who enjoy torturing and challenging themselves for the sake of good art, I cannot recommend this movie highly enough. Overall, I am probably honestly going to give Speak No Evil a 9 out of 10. I think this is a phenomenal movie, as uncomfortable and unpleasant as it is to watch. Also, apparently, the streaming service Shudder has acquired the rights to this film, which is great because that means there's an even better chance that more people are going to, you know, hear about this movie and watch this horrible, bleak thing, hopefully giving it the recognition that it really deserves. Anyways, yeah, I'm a happy guy. I'm happy that a movie like this exists and it actually attempts to go to such extreme places without losing its, you know, poetic and artistic tendencies, leaving you with feeling such strong and intense emotions, you know, whether or not they be bad or good. This movie truly is like the cinematic equivalent of a relentless, unforgiving slap to the face. I am both looking forward to and dreading watching this movie again. So yeah, there you go. That's all I have to say about this movie. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you check out this movie. It is really something. And yeah, that's really it. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you for the last Sundance review. I have one more to go, and then I'm done. Alright, see ya. Bye.